The latest on the coronavirus emergency. Overnight, a new case was confirmed in the U.S., bringing the total here to 14. More than 15,000 new cases in China and worldwide. The number of cases now tops 60,000.
In his first public appearance since the coronavirus outbreak began, Chinese President Xi Jinping came to rally the troops against an invisible enemy.
Let's fight this war with full confidence. Let's fight this people's war. We must build up our confidence. We will eventually win.
Speaking from Beijing in a video call, he thanked medical staff in the city of Wuhan for what he called their heroic efforts, saying the virus had revealed the strengths and shortcomings of China's readiness to fight the outbreak. Shortcomings which were partly addressed this week with the firing of 2 senior health officials in Hubei. Local leaders have been criticized for downplaying the severity of the outbreak and being too slow to act.
Virus makes it to a weaker health system. It will create havoc. It depends on how really we lead this response and how we respond to the outbreak.
The scientific community still doesn't know a lot about the virus, and a vaccine probably won't be ready for another 18 months. But China's leading epidemiologist says the outbreak will soon plateau, at least in China. The rate of new infections is gradually declining. According to the analysis of our mathematical model, the epidemic will reach its peak in the south regions after the middle of February.
China and worldwide, the number of cases now tops 60,000.
And this as the situation grows more desperate on that quarantine cruise ship in Japan. More Americans coming down with the virus.
Still working to get control of the coronavirus. There is a lot of information coming out of China about what is happening on the ground. The worldwide death toll from the disease is at least 1,100 people. But social media has been blowing up lately with videos like this one that show people dropping to the ground and in some cases, men in hazmat suits jumping out of vans to retrieve bodies. Are these videos real?
A signal from outer space has scientists here on Earth baffled. Yes, scientists baffled. This is the first time astronomers have detected patterned signals known as fast radio burst, or FRBS. While some believe those could derive from natural causes, others, of course, are arguing there's intelligent life could be behind those sources. Well,
it's only for people who focus on this. You focus on the news, most likely you don't see UFO. You focus on your phone, you mostly see the UFO captured by the other people's phone. If you spend time to look at the sky, then everybody can see UFO.
咁但係我哋自己喺好多個生活層面上，你會掛住你淨係自己嘅身邊嘅可能係叫做平常嘅生活啦，你好少會去望天嘅，甚至喺我哋香港即係冇乜人可以有一個好大嘅天空望到嘅時候。
I'm the founding chairman. Now it's 23 years old, the club. I'm still doing it. And you ask me the reason? There's almost no reason because it's not something about reason. I just feel like I am this. What else can I be?
First step, if you thought Bernie was a little off his rocker before, wait until you hear this. Sanders is promising to reveal information about aliens if he wins the White House. Watch.
If you got into the office and you found out something about aliens, if you found out something about UFOs, would you let us know?
Well, I'll tell you, my wife would demand that I let you know.
Is your wife a UFO nut?
No, she's not a UFO nut. It's just, Bernie, what is going on? Do you have any access to the records?
You don't have any access?
I don't. Honestly,
no?
I don't know.
Okay. You let us know, though?
All right, I'll be on the show. We'll announce it on the show. How's
Please.
that?
So, Dana, he's apparently smoking, right? You see him light
signals coming from space. I'm just glad that I have an expert that can continue to explain this to me. What makes these signals so special from things that we've heard of in the past?
if I wasn't an expert in the past, I'm quickly becoming one on these type of things. So look, this is what's happening. This is actually very, very interesting. And it's coming from a galaxy far, far away, this signal. And when I say far, far away, I mean 500 million light years all the way to Earth. Now, what makes this really special is that it's a sustained signal coming in at intervals that are basically timed. So this is not like anything we've seen in the past. It's actually a Canadian organization that first detected this. So what we're seeing is a sustained signal coming in 16-day intervals, 4 days on, 12 days off. So that's why everybody's saying, like, this is something like we've never seen before. 500 million light years away. So very interesting, and it's piquing the curiosity of scientists, obviously.
Well, and what could this be, do you think? Is it surreal to kind of think that aliens might actually be trying to contact us?
Oh, well, right now we're saying that this is pretty much unknown. So you have some theorists saying it's coming from a black hole, from a region around a black hole. And other theorists are saying that, you know what, it could be a sun out there that is basically sending out these FSBs, these sound bursts or these radio bursts. But then you have the whole other part of the equation where you have a group of scientists from around the world, mostly Canadians and Americans, and they put out this message. This is something that is not natural. And there's a Harvard professor by the name of Avi Loeb who backs this up, and he's saying that along the exact same lines, he's saying an artificial origin is worth contemplating and checking. That's what he's saying, that this might be an artificial origin.
For years, people have speculated that we are not alone in the universe, extraterrestrial life and objects, not just a science fiction idea, but actually existing. Now, there's not a lot of proof available, but one scientist believes they are out there, closer than we think. So tell me about this theory.
Well, on October 19th, 2017, more than a year ago, we traced the very first object from outside the solar system that passed near the Earth. And it looked nothing like the asteroids or comets that we have seen before that were born in the solar system. Its shape is much more extreme. It's at least 10 times longer than it is wide. It shows no cometary tail, no outgassing around it, and nevertheless it deviated from an orbit that is shaped just by the sun's gravity. And so it looked so peculiar that we wrote a paper, a scientific paper that was published, in which we suggested that perhaps it has an artificial origin. Perhaps it was manufactured by an alien civilization.
And this is the Oumuamua you're talking about here, as we're seeing on the screen there. So based on that then, what kind of proof are you looking at, and what proof do you have to say we have to look at this much more in depth to say this is just much more beyond, you know, an object in the universe?
Right, so this is like having a guest for dinner that arrived from another country, where you notice that the guest is very interesting because you can learn about the whereabouts in that country without going and visiting that country. But by the time you realize that, the guest already left out the door into the dark street. And so Oumuamua itself is now too faint for us to look at, and it's difficult to chase it down the street because it's moving faster than our chemical rockets. But hopefully it belongs to a class of objects, and we will find more of them in the future. And in fact,
and for those of us with someone we love afflicted by it, it is extremely frustrating and painful. It makes us begin to wonder as we live longer if we're all going to be at some point afflicted by this. Here's the good news. Scientists say they have a potential vaccine.
People are affected by Alzheimer's and the memory issues that come along with it. Scientists are hopeful when it comes to finding a cure. In fact, researchers out of the University of Irvine say human trials for a new Alzheimer's vaccine is less than 2 years away. Researchers say advancements in 2019 with mice testing has cleared the way for more extensive research in 2020. A team out of the University of Irvine developed an injection which removes dementia plaques from the brains of mice. These plaques are reportedly formed by clumping of the naturally occurring protein amyloid beta and the protein tau. Scientists believe these two proteins bring about cognitive decline. UC Irvine's research proved to be very promising among rodents. After administering the vaccine, levels of both proteins rapidly lowered. So now scientists say if brain plaque can be conquered in mice, there is a chance the same can be done for humans. According to the Alzheimer's Society, the disease impacts roughly 62% of those with dementia. And in the U.S., at least 5.8 million are living with Alzheimer's. Now, health experts say it's a complex condition that is poorly understood. And because of this, as of right now, there is no certain way to prevent the disease. Previous studies indicate it's vital to attack these two proteins together, which both stimulate mental decline. Results from UC Irvine published in the journal Alzheimer's Research and Therapy suggest the two vaccines could in fact reduce both proteins tied to brain plaque. Previous attempts for failed Alzheimer's vaccines have focused on attacking only one of the two proteins tied to cognitive decline, so the treatment for both proteins should be available for human trials in the next 2 years.
We used to think that the brain controlled all our movements. So when you had a spinal cord injury, if you lost that communication between the brain and the spinal cord, there's really nothing you can do unless you regenerate that connection. It turns out the spinal cord has much more of a sophisticated role than we thought before. We can stimulate the neural networks in the spinal cord. We can help the spinal cord relearn how to do things it was able to do before injury.
I was supposed to have been an individual that was going to live and die from this chair. I mean, with the epidural stimulator, it's so close to the point of just move this leg. You're growing the ability to recovery. I really think that it's going to give me the availability to get out of this chair. Growing up, we started out with go-karts, and then we got into bicycles and everything. My grandpa took me to my first Supercross race. Seeing that and instilled me with this want that that's what I wanted to do. My career was at the point where I was amateur pro. There was a couple races, and then I had my pro points where then I could race the stuff that you see on TV. I went out and I was testing a new motorcycle that I just got, and it was like a 100-foot jump. Right off the face of that jump, I remember the motor just locked up. It had me pinned, and then it just and just tumble, and some people came up to me and like, you okay? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Can you get up? I was like, no. You're paralyzed from the waist down. You're complete injury. You can't feel anything. You're not going to regain any mobility, any function. From here on out, you're going to have daily care, more than likely. You're going to live from a wheelchair, and that was a lot to swallow. Basically how I took it was that from that point on, my life was starting to end versus it continuing to be an adventure. That was how it felt to me.